it's been a while since I've made a video. I've still been reading a bunch and buying a bunch of books, but nothing's really hit me where I wanted to talk about it. I've read books that are good, but I don't have anything to say, and books that are not good and still don't have much to say. But all of that changed when I read The Power by Naomi Alderman. This book I have very mixed feelings about, and I was reading some posts on Goodreads, and I think that a lot of people who read it probably had mixed feelings about it. So the premise of the book is that women develop a power where they have a skein where they can generate electricity, and the whole idea is that once women have this power, they're able to hold it over men. It flips the power dynamic that we have on its head, where men are in control of things. It's a patriarchal society. When women develop this power, all of that changes. Women are more powerful, and it's kind of just a satirical look on life in today's world, where instead of men being the ones to carry out violence against women, it's women carrying out violence against men. So it sounds very intriguing. I was super excited to read it, and I read it pretty quickly. It's a very easy read, I found. But I still had some issues with it. I feel like the first half or so of the book was pretty good. Things were moving quickly, things were happening, very interesting. But then the second half, and then especially towards the end of the book, to me it just felt like the narrative fell apart. The characters, first of all, weren't super engaging. I didn't really connect with any of them. The book flops around between the viewpoints of 4 different characters. One of them is a man, I don't know how to say his name, Tundi, and he's a reporter during this time where the women are developing their powers and everything is changing. Then there is this girl called Roxy. Her role is a little bit more difficult to explain. There is Margot, a politician, on the rise during this time. And the last one is a girl called Allie, who ends up being a religious leader and goes by Mother Eve. And let's talk about her actually for a while, because she was one that I couldn't really get a good grasp on, because she is like this religious figure. She ends up kind of running a convent for the girls, and she wears like a hood. She speaks to the girls as if like she's speaking from God. She seems like a very biblical character. And from the perspective of the book, we can tell, that Allie is able to hear, like she hears voices telling her, or not voices, just one voice, telling her what to do and what to say and kind of guiding and directing her choices. But I have been unclear if the voice is the voice actually supposed to be God talking to Allie, or is Allie supposed to be mentally ill? The choices she makes seem cruel, and the way that the voice speaks to her sometimes it's very casual. It's not exactly what you would imagine like a deity speaking to someone would be like. So I don't know, it's kind of weird. I couldn't really get a grasp on what was going on with that. So those sections of the book were kind of difficult. I will say the ending got, like I said, the first half I felt was really good, super entertaining, on the nose, and then towards the second half, things, when the women started to get more violent and more controlling, it felt like a train off the tracks. And I understood what Alderman was trying to do and comparing it to how women are treated by men in society, but there were some scenes that were just really horrific to read, and in the end, society collapses. That's something that you can gather pretty early on in the book, that after all of this, it leads to more, not really an apocalypse, but a complete societal collapse. And it was kind of hard to understand what was happening. It was hard to understand why these things were happening. It got really unpleasant to read, and I feel like she could have made her point about the state of our society today without some of the scenes that she included and without the detail that she included in those scenes. So I feel like for me that was my biggest issue, that the story started out really interesting, really good, but towards the end it just kind of fell apart. It got really messy. It got unpleasant. And then, like I also said, the characters were not super engaging. Ironically, the character I think that was most well-rounded was her character that was a man. And the three female characters, there was, Roxy, who at the end of the book, I'm still not entirely sure what her role in the story was anyway, what difference her character made. And Allie, who, like I said, I couldn't tell if she was actually being spoken to by God or if she was schizophrenic. And then Margot, the politician, who her story made sense. It was relevant to the book, her story, and the political changes that were going on during this time. But that it was basically just exposition. Her character as a person didn't have a whole bunch going for her. She wasn't really relatable to me, not really well fleshed out or well-rounded, just kind of two-dimensional. So, you can pick this book up, give it a read, let me know what you think. It's definitely interesting. It'll definitely give you a lot to think about. But if I was to give it a star rating, I'd say like 3.5 stars. Yeah, that's the most I have to say about it. Tell me what you think. Let's talk about it. Thanks for watching.